Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a very interesting video. Now, there was a comment on the earlier video today. It's great, I'm off on holiday today, so it's leave. So normally I'd work during the day and then do YouTube videos in the night. But it's great because I can now, I've got time, yay! So I saw a comment where somebody said, shouldn't you change no compensation and the bans and the exploit stuff from PG, Paragon Gauntlet, to BG? Not Brian Grant, but Battlegrounds. So this video has a part 1 and part 2 to it. Part 1 is looking at the results, numbers and points and kind of looking at comparison to previous seasons because it's going to be important, you know, in the future, because this was a big season based on milestones you had to achieve. The part 2 to this is going to be about Kabam's consistency around points farming and ban. So I want to say I had a pretty alright season. I got into Uru, did Gladiator Circuit, got the piece, which was the main thing, and as well did some of the other stuff like unit farming. I did have to take away a lot of unit farming, and it did feel very much kind of like quite grindy and a little bit stressful, especially going into a time where, you know, I was trying to like prepare some stuff for my birthday, and as well trying to just kind of like prepare for Necropolis and other things as well. So it's like, you want to have a nice life balance with this game. But in any case, let's look at the results. I want to give a shout out to MCOC Avenger, who you can find a link to in the description. So great stuff coming out from him on Twitter. And we've got this amazing information when it comes to results. And this is what we're going to go over and compare. Right, let's really get into this part 1, which is all about the Alliance perspective. We will kind of brush over, or we'll talk about the solo side of things. But this is where things are a bit much when it comes to the grind. Not ridiculously, we'll dissect this. So, from a calculation standpoint, back in Season 9, we were trying to all of us do about 400k. 400k times 30 members of an alliance, 12 mil. Nowadays, it's different because it's like, okay, well, if Kabam are extending these milestones to 450k, this means that Kabam are inflating the rank finish point because all players in the alliance will be looking to give the alliance a 13.5 mil. So it's a slight increase of 1.5 mil per alliance that they'll be theoretically putting in, because hey, you know, who doesn't want the spicy stuff? Like if I said as a Paragon player, I don't want Titan Crystal Shards, what the heck am I talking about? Like, I don't want some of the stuff that's in the milestones. No, I'm gonna have to. As being a non-spending player who's saving units for Cyber Weekend and as well Necropolis runs, it is a no-brainer to go and do that. So of course I've gone and done that, and look, I shouldn't really kind of complain about it, but it's a case of like, it's a I don't know what it is. It's kind of a necessity. It's a unfortunate necessity to get those items. But in any case, how does this fluctuate season on season? If we're looking at a non-rare stuff in milestone season, which it's most of the time, then you're looking at seasons 11 and 10. Seasons 11 and 10, there are some surprising stuff that goes into season 12 that makes you kind of go like, interesting. This information, of course, thanks to MCC Avenger for kind of like putting this together. And he puts that 28th place in season 12 was 17.65 mil. 13th place, 17 mil. This is kind of an out of season, so you can really see how the fluctuation is there with it, and like, you know, the amount of points put in. And this is the problem, isn't it? A lot of people would find stress because they're like, okay, well, as an alliance, if you're Battlegrounds focused, you're going to have to do more points again, because that will be the alliance. If you join an alliance that has a Battlegrounds ceiling, or not ceiling, requirement's the right word, then you will be under pressure to achieve, especially when it comes to these special seasons when everybody's putting in more points and is more active within it. So that's something to kind of bear in mind. You have to be very cautious of those particular elements. And we will do, again, like more of a kind of like a comparison to stuff. And I wanted to bring this into the equation. So I think this was like from some leaked data back a little while ago when it comes to grind, and we'll talk about the solo in a second, but this kind of like, it's good to kind of like compare off, you know, where we were up to. This was season 10 for information. First place, you know, 25.2 mil. And you have to look at your own alliance and go like, okay, well, what did we achieve? Well, not theoretically, you can see on screen, this is from our alliance. We did actually, I think we've done the best. This is the best that we've done so far. There's a lot of points put into this. 475th position. I forgot, actually, I've got to claim all of this. I think as soon as I've got to do I may do my Aegon to rank 5 in order to do help out with Necropolis. I haven't really kind of like 100% decided on that. I'm trying to like enjoy my birthday without having any kind of like stress with stuff. So our alliance fronted up 14.8 mil, getting the 1% to 10%, I think, position for stuff. And that's actually the best. That's the best that we've done so far. Like last season we did a lot. This season we've done a lot more. I would say we've done more. I'm just trying to remember like what we did. Did we do 14 point something or other? It wasn't as close to 15 mil for it, but there was a lot of participation. A lot of people, you know, pushed pretty hard on stuff, and yeah, that was just it was great to see. But again, it gives you that kind of perspective to go, right, well, we did 14.8 you know, in that season. What would 14.8 do us in a season that was kind of like an off season? And like in an off season, if we push for it, we could get up to here, like 32nd to 33rd position overall. So it's always really interesting with this, the extent of grind. What would that extra be like to us? Well, it would be this. Like this what it is would be right here. Tier 5 class catalyst. Okay. What we've got here, 25% of a tier 6 class catalyst fragment crystal times 4, and effectively, I think this 2. No, it's 1.5. Oh, I'll just say 1.5 of tier 3 alpha and tier 6 basic. So there's some good stuff within there. I do think there's a good shout to do some improvements to the rewards system for Battlegrounds, but that's a bit of a kind of like, you know, they've got a, that's down to kabam, isn't it, for at the end of the day for this. But it's always very interesting to note where we are with the results, where we are with the ranks, and also looking at like if this was in an off season. So when I say off season, I mean not spicy stuff. Where would we theoretically be? And again, same thing. Like I don't know if our alliance will push it, because the thing is, a lot of alliances they try not to stress people out with kind of like having to do so much. So you look at, again, the situation of going, if we were if our alliance, which I think has a 175, and this may change, like our alliance may say, well, if we want to achieve something, we might do more. So I think the last time, and you know, if the boss says, you know, we got to do 200k, we're going to do 200k. I've got no qualms about that. I will do it because it's for the greater good. No, it just helps out. Like, it just helps out the alliance. If the alliance say we're going to do it, we'll do it. So if we're at something like 175k, then it could be 5.2 mil overall. I can't remember if there was like in an off season we did a lot less than that. But look, you have to kind of like look at it from a perspective of going, could you get, as an alliance, could you push? And again, that's like if we were looking at 85th position there, 12, 3, 5, 2, 8, 3, 5, divided by 30 members, 411,000 points off season. Not off, again, I'm using off season. It's not technically off season, but what I'm referring to is non-spicy milestone reward season, and that's going to be, like, you know, a big factor. As to how alliances push, this was a comparison for the season 11 results. So, you know, it could vary. It could go down in future. We'll have to see. You know, that's the thing, isn't it? As an alliance, you kind of make a decision how much more you want to push and what you would get from it. And again, for kind of like clarity, this is what you'd get for getting that position of 85th based on those season 11 results. So you get 2 of the tier 6 class catalyst, and you have to kind of make that decision, like, well, how much more do we push? Do we push harder? Do we push further? And stuff like that. But I thought this is an interesting dissection to give you that perspective to go, right, well, don't treat the results of last season and season 9 as the benchmark. Look at season 11 results and look at what you want to do in the future as an alliance, as to where you'd actually finish and the amount of effort that's required for it. So the part 2 to this is going to be about the situation of solo. Now this is solo points from the season 11, no, season 10. These are season 10. This is a lot of info. I'm going to have to try and find a way to get solo based kind of like information, as I think it's going to be quite valuable, especially on these off seasons. And this is indeed one of those off seasons. You can see the various positions going down and 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 down to, I think we've got data for 200. And I think this is from, I think MCOC leaks. So apologies for using leaked data, but at the same time, I don't think this is going to be, this isn't like new champion reveals. This is, you know, key results information I think a lot of players would be keen to have. So we'll try and find a way to get better results information in the future and find like a spreadsheet or something we can do for it. But that's a job further down the line when I've eventually got somebody, you know, working for the channel, because it's a lot of work. Okay, so 713,000 to get position 200 from a solo perspective, and when we go further down the line, like a lot of people are either going to be only interested in putting in about the milestones. It depends if they want to push further into things like Uru and stuff, and obviously through to kind of like the top end of Arcane, whatever, you know, those further ranks. But that's going to be down to you and what you're interested in from a solo perspective. If your alliance is Battlegrounds focused, you're Battlegrounds focused. If you're not, if you're personally not, then of course you're not going to do it. But, you know, each to their own. The points farming situation is incredibly interesting, and that's why we are going to go back to something that Kaban put at the start of the month, and the points farming issue. Okay, so Kaban mentioned that there's been an uptake in cheating in the Battleground season. After reviewing the data, they've gone, you know, I think there's a lot of people had gone from that, but as well points farming. This of course had its own kind of like thing to it. Someone has requested some more specific information about points farming behavior as we prohibited in Battlegrounds. So we will be trying to be explicit as possible. The behavior we are looking to prevent is deliberately losing matches to avoid progression in the victory track in order to farm accounts at lower rungs on the victory track ladder. There have been a substantial skepticism that we identify this behavior from other forms of losing. Of course, we do not have the crystal ball. However, we can have this data on millions of Battlegrounds matches played every season, yada yada yada. So things won't get you your account flagged. Being bad at the mode and losing a lot, going on a long winning or losing streak, legitimately getting stuck in victory track rank, regardless of the pattern of wins and losses, queuing into matches and setting your phone down in order to complete the daily objectives, queuing into matches, setting your phone down in order to farm event points while losing, unless it's done strategically. Farm event points in a similar way in Gladiator Circuit. We do not endorse this behavior, but are not investigating at the time. Deliberately losing one of our 2 matches on occasions to manage elder marks. Okay, but the things they would monitor or did monitor. Entering matches with weaker decks, pausing to make your losing matches longer, trying to fake effort while trying to lose. So I'd say these 2 here, yes, that's pretty obvious. It's then the ones here, like losing with medals below the threshold that would actually promote you, losing a bunch of matches in a row at 0 medals in order to skew the data, any other form of manipulating your fight data, which again, trying to fake effort while you're trying to lose. So there's a lot. I feel there's a lot of contradiction from, not a lot, I'd say like there's probably about 3, maybe 4 points from this that contradict the points of there. The reason I bring this up now to talk about is that I've been contacted by a few people to say I did exactly what I did the season prior, where I farmed points the same ways, and they did not get banned. So again, this is always very difficult. Like I would say, because I made a few mistakes in certain areas, and as well, I bugged out. If you saw the video last week, you'll know I had a bug, and it meant that I lost a few matches. And because of that, it then looks bad. It looks bad in general, because it's like, oh, you ended on, like, you lost 100% of your health. Okay. And like, did I throw? It even comes up to say I forfeited. And I didn't forfeit, I had a bug. So this is, and I saw other people doing the same thing. And as I said, I've been contacted with people that have done the same thing. And the same like process as they did the previous season to gain points using the points farming method, and haven't, you know, bared any kind of like brunt from this. So as much as I think Kabam are saying yes, we deal with it, it depends how specific they are. As we said, like if you're entering into matches with a weaker deck, which I've definitely seen that, and again, like if you're loading in with like 2 stars or 3 stars, you would trigger the warning. The problem is people were going in with 5 stars, and to Kabam, they even said like, oh, this is fine. So yeah, I thought it would be interesting to bring this to your attention, to just kind of cover the matter of the results and also the sort of manipulation of the results. Because at the end of the day, Kabam say it's wrong, but it's not wrong at the same time in this. And as I said, when they posted this, I didn't get how they were going to pinpoint the methodology that players would use for this, because it's like, again, saying you've got to get in the head and as well the moment of what went wrong in that fight. Yeah, okay, you could be on 0 medals, but I've lost plenty of games on 0 medals and won games on 0 medals as well. Obviously you win 0 medals, from 0 medals to kind of get medals to then go up, but I've lost plenty going in like on 0 medals. So because that's happened, have I then told Kabam that I'm up to no good? Well, no, I ended up pushing through into Gladiator Circuit, and as you kind of like saw in the video I posted, I got in there with a low amount of points, which is a problem because then it was like it took ages to then, you know, duke it out with other people in a very competitive Gladiator Circuit to get the wins with Elder Marks. I actually found better results by using energy than Elder Marks, but I had to use Elder Marks in order to get more points. So yeah, what's your thoughts on all this? Put it in the comment section down below. Is Kabam or are Kabam systems as good to deal with this? Are they not? Do you agree with the way that they approached with this? And also the other cheating elements. I don't know if we've seen the ban waves from some of the people in Battlegrounds from the season results. I hope that's the case. But in any case, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Check out some other content. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.